the world pausing for a moment, eyes fixed on a balcony in Vatican City. On April 1st, 2025, something incredible happened. Pope Tagle, the first Asian pope ever, stepped forward and spoke. His voice carried a warmth and kindness that instantly made history. It wasn't just a new leader taking over, it felt like a fresh start for the Catholic Church. His words hit differently. They weren't a repeat of the past. They were bold, new, and full of life. Pope Tagle's message reached far beyond the Vatican, touching Catholics everywhere, and even those just listening in. He spoke to a world that's been wrestling with big changes, and people noticed. This wasn't the usual follow the rules speech. Instead, he invited everyone to feel faith in a real, personal way. The reaction was electric. People started talking, debating, wondering, what does this mean for the Church? Pope Tagle didn't lean on heavy theology or strict orders. He swapped that for something simpler. A call to connect, to talk, and to embrace today's world with open arms. One line stuck with everyone. Recover the sense of amazement, wonder, and awe at the gift of the Lord's presence. It wasn't about just knowing your faith. It was about feeling it deep down, beyond words or ideas. That day, Pope Tagle didn't just start a new job. He sparked a new vibe, a revolution of heart and spirit that's got the whole world buzzing about where the Church might go next. Pope Tagle brought something totally new to the table, a vibe that was all about feeling your faith, not just thinking about it. He wanted people to connect with their spirituality in a way that hit them right in the heart. One line he dropped really stood out. The Church must be a home for all, a place where the wounded, the lost, and the left out can feel safe and loved. That hit hard for anyone who'd ever felt pushed away or judged by the Church. It was like he was throwing the doors wide open and saying, "Come on in. You belong here." He didn't stop there either. Pope Tagle got real about the big problems we're facing today. Stuff like climate change, unfair wealth gaps, and the struggles of refugees. He didn't dance around it. He went straight in. "We can't stay quiet," he said, "not when our planet's hurting and people are in pain." His words were like a wake-up call, pushing everyone to step up and do something about it. That energy, his full-on commitment to fairness and helping people, lit a spark. It wasn't just talk. It was a push to shake things up and make the world better. People started buzzing about it everywhere. Theologians, those big thinkers about faith, couldn't stop picking it apart. What does this mean? Where's this going? The ones who love fresh ideas were all about it. They cheered how he focused on real-life experiences, talking things out, and standing up for justice. To them, Pope Tagle was a game-changer, a leader who gets what's tough about today's world and isn't afraid to face it. They saw his message as a huge high five to the poor, the overlooked, and anyone who's been pushed down. It was simple, it was bold, and it got everyone thinking, maybe this is the start of something big. Not everyone was on board with Pope Tagle's big debut. Some of the more traditional folks in the Church raised their eyebrows. They worried his focus on personal feelings might pull people away from the solid rules and teachings they'd always followed. "What about the Church's main job of saving souls?" they asked, wondering if all this talk about social justice, like helping the poor or saving the planet, might steal the spotlight from spirituality. Still, even with these mixed reactions, pretty much everyone agreed. This was a huge moment for the Church. Pope Tagle's words weren't something you could just shrug off. They grabbed your attention and made you think. The arguments that popped up weren't about tearing things apart. They showed how alive and full of ideas the Catholic world really is. His message kicked off a new chapter, and it came with 5 big changes that hinted at a whole new direction for the church. These weren't small tweaks. They were game changers, shaking up what the church cares about and how it works. They were all about meeting people where they are today, both in faith and in the wider world. The first big shift? Moving away from just sticking to the rule book and instead inviting people to really feel their faith. Pope Tagle wanted everyone to rediscover that jaw-dropping, heart-pumping wonder that's at the core of being Christian. He figured that sparking that sense of amazement could light a fire in people's spirits, making faith something they live and breathe, not just something they study or follow. It's a quiet change, but a big one, stepping away from the old school, strict focus on doctrines and rules. With this, he's betting that faith can feel closer, more real, and way more exciting for everyone. Pope Tagle's message was all about shaking things up in a way that felt fresh and welcoming. First off, he wanted faith to feel personal, like a real, close connection with God that lights up your everyday life. Second, he put the Eucharist, the heart of Catholic worship, front and center. But he wasn't just talking about the ceremony itself. He wanted people to see it as a life-changing moment, a chance to really meet the divine. He said this could supercharge the church's spirit and bring everyone closer together, ready to take on the world with faith. Third, he pushed for a church that's a big, warm hug to everyone, especially those who've felt left out or ignored. Reach out to the forgotten, he urged, the ones who've been pushed aside. It's not just about being nice. It's about living Jesus' love out loud, making the church a bright light of hope for anyone who needs it. Fourth, he was all about chatting with the world, not just preaching, but really listening. He wanted the church to sit down with people of all beliefs, swap stories, and figure out how to get along. In a messy, mixed-up world, he saw this as the key to staying real and making a difference, finding ways to team up for the greater good. And finally, Pope Tagle sounded the alarm on the planet. He called the church to step up and lead the charge on the environmental crisis. This wasn't just a side note, it was a full-on plea to take care of the earth, like it's a mission straight from faith itself. Together, these 5 ideas weren't just tweaks. They were a bold roadmap for a church that's alive, connected, and ready to tackle today's big challenges head-on. Pope Tagle didn't hold back. He urged the church to shout loud and clear in the battle against climate change. He saw everything in the world as connected, and he insisted it's our duty to protect the planet for the kids and grandkids of tomorrow. These 5 big ideas weren't just scattered thoughts. They were woven tight into his message, painting an exciting picture of where the Catholic Church could go next. It was all about keeping up with today's world while holding on to the heart of the faith. He dreamed of a church that could handle life's messy challenges but still stay true to the good news of Jesus. His plan? To make the church a livelier, friendlier, and more soul-lifting place for everyone. And boy, did people notice. From big cities in the West to tiny villages far away, Catholics everywhere started buzzing about it. His call for a kinder, more open church hit home for so many. It wasn't just something to hear, it was something to feel. People started asking, how can we make this real in our own lives and churches? In the Philippines, his home turf, the reaction was pure joy. Filipinos, famous for their strong faith and colorful traditions, couldn't stop celebrating. For them, having one of their own as Pope, sharing this bold vision, was a huge deal. A moment to cheer and take pride in. Pope Tagle's message felt like a big win for the Philippines, a country bursting with Catholic energy. It was like the world finally noticed their faith and all they bring to the global church. People there saw it as a high five to their growing community and a boost for the next generation. Church leaders and everyday folks couldn't stop talking about his down-to-earth style, his love for the poor, and his dream of a church that welcomes everyone. To them, he was a leader who really got what Asians, especially in places where Catholicism is booming, need and dream about. Across Asia, his words lit up hearts with hope. Many felt like, finally, someone was listening to them. His talk of kindness and including everyone hit just right, giving them a bright outlook for what's ahead. His rise to Pope and his big ideas showed the church was waking up to how important the global South, like Asia and beyond, is to its future. That made people proud and fired them up. In Europe, where Catholicism started, things got a bit tricky. With its deep roots and fancy traditions, the continent's at a turning point, facing a world that's less religious. Some loved the Pope's call for openness and real talk, thinking it's exactly what the church needs to stay alive in today's fast-changing scene. But others weren't so sure. They worried the church might be bending too much to fit in with a less faithful world, maybe even watering down what it stands for. Over in the Americas, it was a whole different vibe. The Catholic communities there, full of variety and life, jumped into big discussions. Everyone had something to say about where the church might be headed with Pope Taguchi's vision. His message didn't just land, it sparked a lively back and forth about what's next. In North America, the more open-minded Catholics were thrilled with Pope Taguchi. They loved how he tackled big issues like climate change, unfair wealth gaps, and immigration fixes. To them, he was like a guiding light, showing the way to tackle the world's toughest problems. On the flip side, the more traditional Catholics liked that he stuck to some classic values, but they weren't so sure about him chatting with today's tricky, anything-goes culture. They wondered what that might mean down the road. All these reactions from around the world showed something cool. Even with different views, the Catholic Church is still one big family. Pope Taguchi's message proved that, bringing out all kinds of opinions, but also a shared hope for a kinder, more welcoming future. It's a sign that the church isn't just stuck in the past. It's alive, growing, and shifting with the times. That's how it stays real and helpful to people everywhere, no matter where they're from or what they're facing. Oh, and hey, if you liked this, why not subscribe to our channel God Always for more awesome videos and thought-provoking stuff?